You've been running for months, maybe years, and you keep hearing about this mysterious VO2 max thing. Everyone talks about it like it's the holy grail of running performance, but what actually is it? And here's the real question that nobody seems to answer clearly. Why should you even care about it? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you understand your own running potential. The truth is, VO2 max isn't just some fancy scientific term reserved for elite athletes. It's the secret code that explains why some runners seem to glide effortlessly while others struggle. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to unlock your own performance ceiling. Prepare-se para descubrir the real science behind the number that determines your running destiny. We're about to embark on a journey deep into your body's engine room, where oxygen transforms into speed, endurance, and breakthrough performances. This isn't just another technical explanation that leaves you confused. I'm going to break down VO2 max in a way that finally makes sense. And I promise you'll walk away with practical knowledge that you can apply to your very next run. Get ready, because understanding this single concept might be the game changer you've been searching for. Let's start with the foundation. VO2 max stands for maximal oxygen consumption. But forget the textbook definition for a moment. Think of your body as a car engine. Every car needs fuel and oxygen to run right. The more efficiently your engine can mix fuel with oxygen, the more power it produces. Your body works exactly the same way. When you run, your muscles are burning fuel, primarily carbohydrates and fats, but they can't burn anything without oxygen. VO2 max measures the maximum amount of oxygen your body can grab from the air, transport through your bloodstream, and actually use in your muscles during intense exercise. It's measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of body weight per minute. A typical untrained person might have a VO2 max around 35 to 40, while recreational runners often range from 45 to 55. Elite marathon runners, they're up in the 70s or even 80s. But here's what's fascinating. VO2 max isn't just about lung capacity, even though that's what most people assume. Your lungs are actually rarely the limiting factor. The real magic happens in three critical systems working in perfect harmony. First, your heart needs to pump massive volumes of blood with each beat, delivering oxygen-rich blood to your working muscles. Second, your blood needs enough hemoglobin, those oxygen-carrying molecules that act like tiny delivery trucks. Third, and this is where it gets really interesting, your muscles themselves need to be packed with mitochondria, those cellular powerhouses that actually consume the oxygen to produce energy. Think of mitochondria as tiny factories inside your muscle cells. The more factories you have, and the more efficient they are, the more oxygen you can use. This is why VO2 max represents the absolute ceiling of your aerobic capacity. It's the maximum rate at which your entire cardiovascular system can deliver oxygen and your muscles can use it. When you're running at your VO2 max, you're operating at 100% of your aerobic capacity. You literally cannot consume oxygen any faster than that moment. Agora pense comigo. If VO2 max represents your maximum aerobic capacity, what does this actually mean when you're out there on the road? Here's where theory meets reality. Your VO2 max determines your potential across all running distances, but especially for races lasting roughly 2 to 15 minutes at maximum effort. For longer distances like marathons, other factors come into play, like running economy and lactate threshold, but VO2 max still sets the foundation. Imagine two runners, both with the same VO2 max of 5. One might run a faster marathon because they have better running economy, meaning they use less oxygen at the same pace. But neither runner can ever exceed the aerobic ceiling that their VO2 max creates. This is why improving your VO2 max is like upgrading your engine. A bigger, more powerful engine gives you more potential speed and endurance. Now here's something most runners don't realize. You can't sustain your VO2 max pace for very long. Even the fittest athletes can only maintain VO2 max intensity for about 5 to 8 minutes before exhaustion forces them to slow down. This intensity corresponds roughly to your 3 km to 5 km race pace. That brutally hard effort where your heart is pounding, your breathing is maxed out, and your legs are screaming. Comment now, do you know what your VO2 max is? Write in the comments if you've ever had it tested or if you're curious to find out. And here's another question. Have you ever wondered why some runners improve quickly while others plateau? The answer often lies in understanding and training this specific system. Let's move into the second crucial revelation. How do you actually improve your VO2 max? This is where the practical magic happens. Your VO2 max isn't entirely fixed by genetics. Yes, genetics play a significant role, probably accounting for about 50 to 70% of your baseline VO2 max. Some people are simply born with larger hearts, more efficient oxygen transport systems, or greater mitochondrial density. But here's the empowering truth. The remaining 30 to 50% is absolutely trainable. With the right training stimulus, most runners can improve their VO2 max by 15 to 25% over several months. The key is specific, targeted training at the right intensity. This is where interval training becomes your best friend. To improve VO2 max, you need to stress your aerobic system right at its upper limit. This means running at an intensity that pushes you to about 95 to 100% of your maximum heart rate, typically corresponding to that 3 km to 5 km race pace we mentioned earlier. The classic VO2 max workout involves intervals of 3 to 5 minutes at this high intensity, with recovery periods of equal or slightly shorter duration. For example, you might run 6 repetitions of 4 minutes hard with 3 minutes of easy jogging recovery between each repetition. During those hard intervals, you're forcing your cardiovascular system to operate at maximum capacity. Your heart is pumping as much blood as possible, your breathing is maxed out, and your muscles are consuming oxygen at their absolute peak rate. This intense stimulus triggers your body to adapt. Over time, your heart grows stronger, pumping more blood with each beat. Your muscles develop more capillaries, those tiny blood vessels that deliver oxygen to muscle fibers. Your mitochondrial density increases, giving you more cellular engines to burn oxygen, but timing matters enormously. You can't do these workouts every day because they're incredibly taxing on your system. Most coaches recommend VO2 max sessions just once or twice per week, with adequate recovery between sessions. The adaptation happens during recovery, not during the workout itself. Here's another critical insight that transforms how you approach training. VO2 max improvements follow the principle of diminishing returns. Beginners and intermediate runners often see dramatic improvements relatively quickly. Someone new to structured training might boost their VO2 max by 20% in just 3 to 6 months. But as you become more trained and approach your genetic ceiling, improvements become harder to achieve. An elite runner might train for years to squeeze out just a 2 or 3% improvement. This doesn't mean you should stop training VO2 max, but it does mean you need realistic expectations and patience with the process. Also, remember that VO2 max naturally declines with age, typically about 1% per year after age 30 if you don't maintain high-intensity training. But active runners who continue challenging their aerobic system can slow this decline significantly. You might be thinking, do I actually need to know my exact VO2 max number? The honest answer is no, you don't absolutely need to. Many successful runners train brilliantly without ever getting officially tested. However, knowing your VO2 max can provide valuable insights. Laboratory testing remains the gold standard, where you run on a treadmill while wearing a mask that measures your oxygen consumption and carbon dioxide production. The test progressively increases in intensity until you reach exhaustion, and the highest oxygen consumption measured is your VO2 max. These tests are accurate but expensive and require specialized equipment. Fortunately, modern technology has made estimation much more accessible. Many GPS running watches and fitness trackers now estimate VO2 max based on your running pace, heart rate, and other variables. While these estimates aren't as precise as lab testing, they're usually accurate enough to track trends over time. If your watch shows your estimated VO2 max gradually increasing over months of training, that's a reliable sign your aerobic fitness is improving. Do you believe technology can accurately measure your fitness? Write in the comments which method you trust more, lab testing or smartwatch estimates. And tell me, have you noticed your estimated VO2 max changing with your training? Now for the third and perhaps most important block of understanding. What does VO2 max really mean for your everyday running? This is where we connect abstract numbers to concrete performance. Let's say you discover your VO2 max is 50. What can you actually do with this information? First, it helps you set realistic goals. With a VO2 max of 50, you're probably capable of running a 5-kilometer race in about 22 to 24 minutes, depending on your running economy and other factors. A VO2 max of 60 might correspond to an 18 to 20-minute 5-kilometer. These are rough estimates, but they give you a performance framework. Second, knowing your VO2 max helps you train at appropriate intensities. If you're doing VO2 max intervals, you should be running at a pace that feels sustainable for about 4 to 6 minutes maximum. That effort, where you're breathing hard, but not sprinting. Many runners make the mistake of running these workouts too fast, turning them into anaerobic sprints, or too slow, failing to provide adequate stimulus. But here's the twist that surprises many runners. Having a higher VO2 max doesn't automatically make you a better runner at all distances. Remember, VO2 max is just one piece of the performance puzzle. Running economy, the oxygen cost of running at a given pace, matters enormously. Some runners with relatively modest VO2 max values can outperform runners with higher values simply because they're more economical, wasting less energy with each stride. Think of it like fuel efficiency in cars. A smaller, more efficient engine might outperform a larger, less efficient one over long distances. This is why marathon champions don't always have the highest VO2 max values. Their secret weapon is often exceptional running economy, combined with a very high lactate threshold. The pace they can sustain before fatigue-causing lactate accumulates faster than their body can clear it. For marathon and half-marathon runners, lactate threshold training often provides better performance returns than pure VO2 max work. Still, improving your VO2 max raises your entire performance ceiling. It's like upgrading the foundation of a building. With a stronger foundation, you can build higher. A runner with a VO2 max of 60 has more potential across all distances than when their VO2 max was 50, assuming they develop the other necessary qualities like economy and threshold. This is why even marathon specialists include VO2 max work in their training, especially during base building phases. The intervals might be shorter and less frequent than 4-track runners, but they're still valuable for maintaining that aerobic ceiling. And here's something beautiful about the human body. The adaptations that improve VO2 max often simultaneously improve other performance markers. When you do high-intensity interval training, you're not only boosting VO2 max, but also improving your lactate threshold, enhancing neuromuscular coordination, and increasing your mental toughness. Every hard workout compounds its benefits across multiple systems. One final practical consideration: context matters when interpreting VO2 max values. A VO2 max of 55 might be excellent for a recreational runner, but mediocre for a competitive athlete. Your age, gender, and training history all factor into what constitutes a good VO2 max for you personally. Women typically have VO2 max values about 10% lower than men due to physiological differences, like lower hemoglobin concentrations and smaller heart sizes, but this doesn't reflect work capacity or determination. The most important comparison isn't against others, but against your own baseline and potential for improvement. So what have we discovered together on this journey? VO2 max is your aerobic engine size, the maximum rate at which your body can consume oxygen during intense exercise. It's determined by your heart's pumping capacity, your blood's oxygen carrying ability, and your muscles' capacity to use that oxygen. While genetics set your baseline and ultimate ceiling, Consistent, intelligent training can improve your VO2 max significantly, especially through targeted interval workouts. But VO2 max is just one performance factor among several, working alongside running economy and lactate threshold to determine your racing potential. Understanding VO2 max empowers you to train smarter, set realistic goals, and track your fitness progress over time. The number itself matters less than what you do with the knowledge. Whether you're a beginner hoping to finish your first 5 km or an experienced runner chasing a personal record, improving your aerobic capacity through structured training will unlock new levels of performance. Remember, every elite runner you admire started somewhere, probably with a VO2 max not much different from yours right now. What separated them was consistent, purposeful training that gradually expanded their aerobic ceiling. You have that same potential waiting inside you. The question isn't whether you can improve, but whether you'll commit to the training that makes improvement inevitable. Now, I want to hear from you. What surprised you most about VO2 max? Are you planning to incorporate more interval training into your routine? Leave your comment below right now. If this video helped you finally understand VO2 max, hit that like button so more runners can discover this information. Subscribe to the channel because we're diving deeper into running science and training strategies that actually work. Click the next video on your screen where we'll explore lactate threshold, the other critical marker that determines your marathon potential. Keep running, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.